Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh, Shem Shai, Shem Kakodash, Shalom to the hopefully elect out there. I'm going to title this video, Even the Edomite Pastors Know About the You Know What. And you can see it right here in the MOTB. So anyway, what I'm going to do is, this is Perry Stone of Perry Stone Ministries. And he goes into a lot of prophecies, and he's on point a lot of times. Now, I'm not going to let you hear it because I don't know, about the copyright and all that. But what I'll do is I'll kind of go, I put it on closed captioning. So it says, great that is, come back. So now we understand that verse here is a third verse, Revelation 17 and 18. Move on. Also chapter 18, Mystery Babylon the Great. Fire to the Circus Maximus. He's talking about the fire that was during the time of Nero. There was a fire in Rome at the marketplace. If you go to a big arena, there's a place where you can get souvenirs and food and all that. So back then they had that too. So it was said that it was Nero that set the fire up deliberately. Planned event, staged event, a false flag, whatever you want to call it. And he made sure he was 30 miles away from Rome, the Roman, outside of Rome. All right. So we move on. Okay, people are standing far off, afraid to go into the city. He's quoting from Revelation 18. When they see the smoke, we come back. In John's day, be destroyed in an hour, and they're afraid of the smoke. People are standing far off, afraid to go into the city. It's decimated. Wouldn't have made sense in John's day to destroy a mega city, right? Because when it says great city Babylon, the word there was mega, which means large, big. So he even tells you, let me move on. Okay, in John's day, to destroy a mega city, a great city, that the Greek word there is a great city, that the Greek word there is, is mega, to destroy a mega. Destroy it and make it burn. We now know that a nuclear device. So when you watch this video, it makes a lot of sense. He doesn't understand the whole thing. He doesn't understand that, at least he might say it. I didn't watch this whole video. He's not going to say it's America, but he does say that what John saw, it did not happen back then, or will not happen during the time of John's time, or even the near future. That is talking about a future event. So he mentions destroy it and make it. He's talking about that great city, that mega city, Babylon the Great. Destroy it and make it burn. We now know that a nuclear device would take days, like a regular fire would take days and days and days to destroy it and make it burn. We now know, destroy it and make it burn. We now know that a nuclear device set in a city such as Rome, Italy, or any other city would level that city, because he speaks about 1 hour. Now that mega city, as we know, which he doesn't know, he was not going to say it. He probably has an idea, but he would never condemn, American pastor condemn America. We're trying to save the people of America. America is a Christian society, right? It says, as Rome, Italy, or any other city would level that city to the ground, and the radiation smoke would cause people afraid, and maybe that's why the Bible says they are standing afar off. Now we know what that's talking about. That's talking about the other nations outside of Babylon the Great, that mega city. They're standing far off because they're in different lands. And he also mentions, okay, this is 408 in. Let me backtrack. He brings out a smartphone. Oh, there it is right there. There it is right there. So we left 408. It said, every eye shall see him. So he said, how can every eye see the Lord 2,000 years ago? It's impossible. So he goes into, let's move the frame up. It says, how can every eye see one person when the globe is 25,000 miles in circumference? I think the answer is very simple. Now here you go, right here. And what does he pull out? Everybody, including your mama. When somebody says even everybody and your mama got one, well, guess what? Your mama do have they do have one, and that's a smartphone. Remember when you first got into smartphones? Your mama didn't have a smartphone. Now she got a smartphone. So it says circumference 25,000 circumference. I think the answer is very simple. Now here you go, right here. Let's move on. Okay, he says satellite, you can take one picture that is transferred automatically. Yeah, if you put up one YouTube video, let's say there's 7 billion people that have access to the web, they can all see that video at the same time. And you got television, you got cable. When we know that this place is destroyed, it's going to be immediately breaking news around the planet, and we know what's going to happen. The Medes in Isaiah, the 13th chapter. See, we're talking about we're going into a lot. We're dealing with a lot of prophecy because these prophecies are coming to pass. Habakkuk 2. All right. Let's move it up. Let's move the frame up. Okay, second delay across the world. And I guess he meant it'll take a second, and then a second delay. In other words, you get it, a second, 2 seconds later, the whole world gets it. Across the world, the whole planet Earth. And I think this is how it's going to take place. So that devastation, that destruction that Isaiah saw, that Isaiah 13, Isaiah 14, Isaiah 34, Revelation, throughout the book of Revelation, Revelation 18, Revelation 14, is all talking about the same event as we know. Let's move on. I think this is how it's going to take place. We can now understand. 34 to 36, and it says this too will be working. Back in the day when this was spoken, no one knew how large the world was, and that's true. The people of Israel didn't know the expanse. I mean, of course you had the Northern Kingdom over here, realized there was a 8-hour difference. Yeah, because he's talking about two shall be working, one shall be uh, um, lifted up and the other left. Two shall be in the bed, one shall be taken and the other left. So what he was talking about, you work in the day, right? So from one side of the world, there's people working because it's daytime, working the day. The other half of the world, people are sleeping. So that's what he's talking about, which we teach. A difference between the United States that they didn't know existed, and the nation of Israel, or the land of Israel, Palestine. Now, how would two be in the bed, and yet the answer is very simple. The Lord knew the planet, and He would be awake, working in place where people would. So now we understand that verse here is here's a third verse, also chapter 18. And like I said before, these any black church, they're not going to go into this. They're not going to go that deep. It said the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. When they introduced the MOTB to the world, you know who the first people going to jump up and say it's the MOTB? Edomites, so-called white people in the Bible Belt states and down south. The patriotic people, the born againers, the first people that's going to wake up and identify it are, so we already know we're going to identify it, of course, but the first people are going to be screaming, this is the MOTB, Europe, so-called Europeans, Edomites, some of them are Jake. The Japanese are not going to do it because they don't believe in the Bible. The Africans, they're not going to see it. The Arabs, they believe in the Quran. There's nothing in the Quran that speaks about a MOTB. Guaranteed. Now I could be wrong, which I doubt very seriously that I'll be wrong. When they do that first, whether it be the president or some representative, they'll probably, say there's a new variant of the C. ragamuffin, but you don't have to go to the doctor and get a shot. All you got to do is take this clip and it'll release whatever. Or the money system as of tomorrow, there should be a big change tomorrow, because that's when they're going to really push forth that the CBDC. And they're saying that between April and July, by the end of July, the system should be totally in place, and we can do away the money with paper dollars. Everything will be on your smartphone through a app or a QR code. And they're going to give you time to get used to it, but then eventually everything is going to go into that chip, just like we've been saying, and just like these Edomite pastors teach the same thing. That's why you have other groups say, oh, to harden them, you're following Alex Jones, you're following these white pastors. And like to say that Esau don't have, Esau knows things, man. Esau is up on things. These so-called pastors among Esau, like individuals like this, and he's been teaching about the MOTB for years. He used to be on, there's this 24-hour, 7-day-a-week religious station. Every cable company has that. You got one called a Daystar, and it's 24-hour, but the other one was it PTL? But it was a 24-hour thing. So he was always a guest. And I believe he had one of the shows. He had a slot where he did one of the shows. But he's been speaking, he goes into prophecy. He's not 100%, but he's correct with the MOTB. He says it's an actual clip. So let's move on. It said also, chapter 18, Mystery Babylon, which he's not going to admit, and I believe he knows that it's the U.S., but maybe he doesn't know. I'm pretty sure it came to his mind. I'm pretty sure he watched some of the Israelites' videos. So when you snap and joke and laugh about GMS talking about the MOTB, you like to say that our high priest is Alex Jones, you're going to eat those words. Great that is destroyed in 1 hour now. What? And he mentions it. If you go back to 4, we're in 319. Let me go to 408. I believe he says it's in. So 319, we're going to 408. Let me come back a little bit more. Okay, come back a little bit more. They said it would take days and days and days because he was talking about the fire in Rome. And that took some time. And then I think when they put it out, the fire got stirred up again. They said destroyed it and make it burn. We now know that a nuclear device set in a city such as Rome, Italy, or leveled that city to the ground and the radiation smoke. So he knows it. He's teaching. So are we going off because he's teaching it? Nah, it's not. It's not ICBM because the white man's teaching it. And like I said, the children of this world, I got to keep saying that. Luke, the children of this world are wiser than the children of light. Who are the children of light? The elect. Well, not the Israelites. The Israelites that have woken up to the fact that the Israelites. You that don't understand the MOTB of you other camps, the children of this world are wiser than you because you are the children of light. You found that you were Israelite, but you don't understand all the prophecies. Afraid, and maybe that's why the Bible says they are standing afar off of fear. They're standing afar off because they're in other countries watching it on breaking news. There's about 1,001 news stations plus 1,000 plus news stations all around the world. That wasn't so. If you go back to the 60s, you had a handful of news stations. Now you have over 1,000 news stations all over the world that you can pick up on the web. I can go to Al Jazeera. I can go to there's so many of them. I can't even Euro News, which if you have certain cable companies, they'll carry these these other channels. RT News. Like previous generations couldn't. The fourth one is Matthew's 24:14. This, and move on. Previous generations could, one in Matthew's world as a witness unto all nations, and then the end would come, which is us. And you couldn't go to all the places on the planet to speak to every person. So what did the Most High give us? The internet, mainly the YouTube. Preached there was a day you got in the ship later. You got, okay, let me come back. As we shared with you through the lens of a camera. Tennessee, and you can go into any nation of the world. Right. You can be in Zimbabwe. You can be in Moscow, Russia. You can be in Ukraine. You can be in Japan. You can be anywhere. Matter of fact, one of the leaders of the GMS camp out there in LA, the LA area, Barack, Shalom to that brother. He came to New York. He originally from New York anyway, but he came out. He came to the house and all that. Chilled with us. Came out a lot of times. He found out about the truth when he was stationed in Japan. That's all he used to do. Train martial arts when he was stationed in Japan and watch the GMS videos. And now he's a top elder. Right. Generation through what? Technology. Daniel 12. Knowledge shall increase. Understand how that's going to take place. And he doesn't fully understand it because you would never say America, but he does understand the MOTB. He's been teaching that for years. That says that suddenly everyone is going to receive okay, that says that suddenly everyone is going to receive a mark that is a number. Let me see what he says about this. Going to receive the mark that is a number, a name. Time of the Roman Empire, it would have been practically impossible to tattoo the woods living in the mountain living in these was not a large population controlling buying or selling with that, and I know today everything we do is with the number, the social security number, time license plate, telephone number, 16 different numbers that we use. We are not known by our number O that sunk in didn't. Here's where we're going to in the future. Important that you understand there will come at the end days. We're at the end days, the latter days in Revelation, a seventh empire that continues for a short space. I don't know how he describes that, but we know that that's talking about Great Britain, and that Great Britain, the eighth, is America. It says there's the Antichrist and 10 kings, and the 7-year tribulation is not. That's he's quoting Daniel chapter 9. Daniel chapter 9 took place already about 2,000 years ago. The eighth empire mentioned in Revelation, and we know what that is. He's not going to tell you what that is, although I think he knows what it is. Revelation 17, and what this last empire is. He calls it empire. This is an empire. There's over 800 known locations of U.S. military bases around the world. 800 plus. No other country can do that. There's not a Russian base in America. There's not a Chinese base in America. When you have 800 to 1,000 bases scattered throughout different sovereignties, that means you control it. That's called an occupation. Going to focus in on it is a system to control the population. It is a system, and they're also going to be one religion. Antichrist religion, the Bible simply says you are going be by beheading. He's quoting Revelation 20, verse 4, as you can see right there. So some of us will be locked up, some of us will be put to death. Now, in the time of Daniel, when the Medes and Persians took over Babylon, he knows that Babylon is talking about ancient Babylon, and Persian law could not be changed. It could not be altered. So once the Medes, you got the ancient Medes, and then you got the modern Medes in Isaiah 13. The modern Medes represent Russia. Then so it was punishable by death if you broke Roman Empire. They used their military to squash anyway against the Roman Empire. Bear me for when it could be killed by resisting the officers. Roman soldiers, number 3, the Nazi marked the Jews. Millions or so, 1.5 million children. The rest were adults that were taken concentration camps, as Revelation 2:10. Nazis in the Third Reich. Once again, let me go past this population. So he's building it up. Millions of people, not thousands, millions face death. Nation, especially if found out that they were Christian today. You just do the research. If you don't believe me, trying to get to the point here. Okay, to the system, then we will come to a time. Listen carefully. Absolutely no personal freedoms whatsoever. And now we have some call up, save money, and you invest in property. And now that is coming under all of regulations. And I'm not going to preach that tonight because important as Americans, especially those of you that live in America, and even the first thing you have to control is banking. What are they talking about now? And this was put up a year ago. He's talking about banking a year ago, and everything. The big thing in the news now is the banking. These banks falling, and they're talking about, doing away with the current money system and placing a new system, which is the CBDC. An ounce of gold should be about $100 to $200. Right, the Great Depression from 29. It was what was it? What was the year? 33. FDR. He called in all the gold and the certificates, made it unlawful to have gold. If you was found with gold, it was a $10,000 fine, and $10,000, if you adjust for inflation, $10,000 would be $10,000. I believe it's something like $1 million. It's $1 million fine. So people get scared. The FDR used a fear tactic. Then a couple of years later, I forget the exact year, they put it back on the market, but it was only for people outside the nation, other nations to buy, Europe mainly, to trade in gold. And by the way, the gold went up almost double. It went from $20, a $20 gold certificate went up to $35 per gold certificate. So what did they do? They devalued the money, the gold money. Then in 71, when the French wanted their gold back, because all these European nations gave their gold to, and the confiscation was really a world confiscation. When these European nations gave the gold up, and they called themselves putting that gold in Fort Knox, nobody ever even talks about Fort Knox. In 71, during the Nixon administration, the French said we want our gold back, or some of it back, or all of it back. And what did Nixon do? He closed the gold dollar and took gold off the gold standard. And they didn't get shit. And see, this money system that we're dealing with started in 71. Started in 71, which was not based off of gold and silver. It was called fiat currencies. Look up the word fiat. So they're just doing it again. And so once the government got a hold of it, I know I don't have to listen to him. A hold of it, they jacked the price up to $35 an ounce. It was 20. So he knows some history. This is going over a lot of Israelite groups' heads too. They don't even know. They don't even know what inflation is all about. How is inflation created? I know it backwards and forwards, and they do it every so many years. Other countries do it. So this time, what they want to do is they want to make the dollar that we know. They want to make it obsolete, and they're going to bring in a digital dollar. Everything's going to be on you're going to have debit cards. You're going to have an account. That's why in New York City, the poorer part of the city, like Bronx and the ghettos, now what they're doing, it was on the news the other day. Eric Adams, the mayor, he had a press conference on it. He said, now you people that can't afford, the web, now you're going to get it for free. So cable companies made a deal with them, and they're going to get it for free. Why? To get them used to everything being digital, everything being digital. And that's the beginning of smart cities and 15-minute cities, which is slavery. So it says people realized that the currency of the paper dollar was becoming worthless. And let me say this, you other Israelite camps, you'll see an Edomite preacher. Oh, that's the devil. He don't know what the hell he's talking about. But a lot of them do know what the hell they're talking about. But they don't have the whole truth, or they don't tell the whole truth. What he's been saying, what I've been jumping from frame to frame, when he mentioned the gold being $35, it went from 20 to 35. Didn't I say that before I jumped to it? So he ain't telling a lie. He's telling you the truth. He mentioned how can a city, a mega city, be destroyed in 1 hour? Then he mentioned a nuclear device. So are we going off because a white man said it? Like I said, man, there's going to be a major shakeup among Israel. You following these blind leaders, and you're going to actually see the truth, and you're going to bug the hell out. You're not going to know what to do. You're not going to know what to do. If you're not part of the elect, you're going to get got. Yeah, but I've been holding this 12 tribe sign. I've been on the street for 20 years. Yeah, but if you're not one of the elect, you're going to get got by the Most High. You're going to get caught up out there. And that's exactly what's happening that's exactly what's happening in the United States. He wants to say it, and I believe he knows. If I was to run into this guy and I was going to the whole thing about Babylon the Great, Revelation 17, Revelation 18, and I was to say, could this be the U.S.? He might say no, but you'll see the body language that he knows. the United States right now. I love coin dealers. I collect I collect things. So what have I been saying through the years? Get you gold and silver, right? He says, what? United States right now. I love coin dealers. I collect things. What is he collecting? Gold and silver. So this man right here, this so-called white man, he's telling the truth, but he doesn't know the whole truth. Or he may know the whole truth, but not telling the whole truth. Many of you do and keep up with this quite quite familiar, I'm sorry, with it. Secondly, now listen carefully. Secondly, control of the land and the food supplies. What's happening now with all these derailments? What's happening now with all these chickens being cold, meaning put to death because of the avian flu? Now he's saying this a year ago. He's saying this back in okay, if it's exactly a year ago, he's saying this 3/30, 3/31, 2022, in the midst of what? The what we were kind of getting out of the wearing of the mask. It was kind of dying down, and now that's being exposed. So all you people that stood up online to get that, you know, the vaccination, a lot of you were dying, and then you're figuring shit out. Oh, this guy died, that guy died, this guy died in the family. 3 people died in the family. The ones that are still alive are the ones that said they ain't gonna get it. So put 2 and 2 together, 1 and 1 together. That's what's killing the motherfuckers. If our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. He's giving you some of the gospel. He's on a higher level than a lot of you Israelite camps. Supply the farmers who are farming the land. Television, I want to be careful, but it shared with me that a man who has a farmer with thousands of acres received an actual letter from the federal government that said to him, if you choose not to farm your land or plow it, we will give you $3,000. And that's what they're doing now. When these chickens are raised on farms, you have individual farmers, you have mega farms, you have farms that owned by corporations, and you got smaller farms. A man that probably raises 1,000 chickens a day, it could be considered a smaller farm. What they'll do is, oh, you know about the bird flu. How much is each one of your chickens if we buy them? Each one is $3, whatever the case may be. They'll say, okay, well, how many chickens you got right now? 1,000. I will give you $3,000. Nah, I'm not with that because I can. Okay, we'll give you $6,000. What do you think he's gonna say? He got his money. It says we will give you 3,000. That's what I said. We will give you $3,000 an acre for not farming the land. I went into the video yesterday about I used the term food. Was it food as a weapon? And the first thing that they mentioned was 1921, during the Stalin era. I believe it was Stalin that starved out the Ukrainian people. They were just dropping dead. He cut off the food supply to them. They were dropping dead. People starving in Africa, and yet we have entire places said, oh yeah, Perry, that's been going on a while, where they're paying farmers not to farm. Farmers are saying, huh, that's a deal. I can get more. Because they're going to get you, they'll give out, because they can print money. That's what inflation is all about. You know, you're scratching your head. Why is everything going up? Because something happens, okay? What is it called? Cause and effect. Cause and effect. farming and not have to work as hard as I would farming. But this farm is not looking. He's not looking 5 years down the road. The Green New Deal, because we have to land that rest that the number there have control water, right? Water, food as a weapon, water to farmers who need the water. What's happening with all these derailments? Most of them are going into bodies of waters, and all these waters connect to the Mississippi. That Middle America, all those bodies of water connect to each other one way or another. So this is strategic. People in certain parts of the United States that and eat your two grandbabies, but we can't kill Tyrannosaurus. This man's telling the truth. Humans need water. Let the fish drown. If he has to humans need water. People supply, and then according to the Bible, there. Okay, and I always say when I tell you, I'm just trying to get to the point. According to doctors, however, now it's vaccine. Okay, the final system that's coming will be set up by one man. He will have, and he's saying that's the end. There's no one man named Joe Antichrist. It says prophet, and this is all in Revelation chapter, as you can see, chapter 13. Controversial with the 10 kings and 10 different nations, and by uniting these 10 nations, he doesn't understand that that's the EU and NATO. Under this one person, it's not one person. And this is going to be the kingdom of the beast. The kingdom of the beast is already here. Book of Daniel, Antichrist, imagery. I mean, this man's telling mostly truth. I wanted to get to the part with the mark itself. Use your phone and they take it out of your bank account. You don't spend any cash or coins at all. Facial recognition, they're talking about pushing that palm prints your account, and you go to your phone and you buy your products. And this is called gradualism. Don't know about you, but when I go to the local Publix here to shop, I guess that's a supermarket where you live, charge 3 times for scanning. Got this coin and that coin and that. Trying to get to the point. Okay, now he goes into cryptocurrency. So he's building this thing pretty correct. He's off on certain things. This is called edification. When you build an edifice, you're building on something. That then phone. Now the problem you have with that is what if the electricity goes out for a month and you don't have electricity? So there's a lot. Please bear with me. I'm trying to get to the point. Okay, he goes back to the Roman Empire, where the Roman Empire took it as an insult and an attack enemies. Okay, let me see something here. Now he's got a commercial. Okay, to accept the mark of the beast will explain how the masses are, being set up right now. Global elitists who will use future uh, pestilence, disease, natural disease, disasters, and food train derailments, food as a weapon, and food shortages, and food as a weapon, and an attempt to seize control. You know, when you're hungry, man, you are ready to give up an arm to eat something. It says, you know, you have children that say we want to take 3 of your children. You're going to starve to death anyway. You can take your children, and your children eat under our control, and you'll lose your children, but you'll be able to eat. Most of y'all. Well, what happened to Israel? They were eating their babies. Seized control of economic power using details from ancient narratives. And he compares this. They say satanic strategies work through personalities. And see, these people don't know what's going on. These people don't know what's going on. This is that shepherd sheep mentality. They just blindly listen to this guy. If I was to say, well, he's saying a lot of things true, but he went off on this and he went off on that, they would attack me. They would come against me. That's what's called a cult of personality. Like I'll use the example of the IUIC. Every time you see them videos, most of them you'll see with Nate's face on it in a different pose. That's called a cult of personality. You're not going to see me every time you see a video of GMS. You got to put my face up there, or me and the apostles' faces up there. That's called a cult of personality. Because if that guy's face is not up there, and if it's somebody else's face, they're not going to get as many hits. That's called a cult of personality. And like I said, the mass majority of you out there that are in camps, you are in a sheep. You're in a sheep state of mind. You just blindly follow your leaders. Something told you that God is dealing with him, and no matter what ridiculous statements that he makes, you're going to follow it blindly. That's why there's going to be a major shakeup among the different Israelite camps. You see the black Jake all up, but Jake is fucking gone anyway. I don't know if he's going to mention it. Okay, you got this guy. See, that's all that money. He's a multi-million dollar, you know, scriptures say, buy the truth and sell it not. Okay, I don't think he's gonna. Just look at how long the commercial is. It's all selling stuff. Okay, he doesn't go into it. He goes into redemption of Jesus, his blood, and serving him. This man is living very good. He's got a fat bank account. But I give him credit. He is teaching some truth. Let me do this. Let me do this again. Okay, this is the one we went over. Okay, this is part one, part two, part three is America setting up the market of beast system. And I've seen enough of his videos, and he does say, well, he would have to admit that America's part of this beast system. New apocalyptic technology, universal chip. You see what he got there, right? Anyway, pretty much I was just doing commentary. With that, I'm gonna say shalom.